why I give a beep about job interviews. So today we're going to look at something that is happening over this week. In one of the earlier videos, I told you that we are looking to fill some important roles in the powder coating. And since we have a significant number of roles to fill, we also have to deal with a significant number of interviews. And what we learned from the past is that we do have no shows for interviews. And with that, I don't mean that as somebody applied and then we sent them just a message and say, hey, come in for an interview whenever you have time. But it's sometimes I'm in contact with people via email and everything is arranged for that. Sometimes I do a pre-screening by phone and then we agree on a specific day and time. I let that be repeated back to myself, and then people don't show up for an interview. Personally, I don't get it. As if you make a commitment, you're gonna follow through on that commitment. And I do have also people that basically that come back and say, okay, look, I had a family emergency, I got sick, whatever, can't come, could not come, can we move it? And I'm the last person who's not willing to move it. And I moved quite a few interviews during this day because we as I told you, we went and had about 40. I think we ended up with about 45 candidates that we invited for interviews. And out of that 45, we are now through with about 25-ish because I'm not counting the no-shows. So when you don't show up as a candidate, a lot of people think that, like, as an employer or as a business owner, they care. And why would I? It's your career, it's your life, and you're only hurting your reputation. So imagine this. I mean, and we have quite a few candidates who apply now the second time after they didn't get another job, and here we are. So if you don't show up to the first interview, it's like, I'm not gonna even invite you to the second one if you don't have the courtesy to at least cancel the interview or give me an explanation on why you didn't show up. And whatever that explanation is, it's probably a good one and it's probably an okay one. But if we have a discussion, you don't show up for an interview, then the next time when we're going to open other jobs and you apply again, you will simply get rejected. And we're using Indeed as a platform. Apparently in the UK, that's one of the leading platforms to do that. And they have a simple button where you can just say reject candidate. And at that moment, I don't even pay Indeed for, if I do that within the 72 hours after the application, I don't even pay Indeed for that candidate. So it doesn't hurt me. And all that's happening right now is that we batched people together. So I invited 5 people to one time slot, and sometimes even more. And out of those 5, 2 came. And then between the 2, they are either both a good fit, or one is a good fit, or none is a good fit. And that goes vice versa. I mean, they also have to determine if we are the right company they want to work for. Not everybody wants to work in a high performance organization where people are held accountable. And that's fine. That's what interviews are for. But I have the feeling a lot of people don't understand that if you don't show up for the interview, if you make that choice to not just to agree to an interview, to confirm an interview and then not showing up, you're going to be a fool if you think that's not going to hurt your reputation. It's not going to hurt the reputation of the business. And for the team and for myself, as they carry on working if no one shows up. So there is no time waste. Yeah, it's a little bit of wasted effort because they prepare to be ready and then they might not. But at the end, it's like our life just moves on. The business continues and we're going to find the right candidates that are willing to work. And as a business owner, if somebody does not show up for an interview, and doesn't have the courtesy to even say something about it, do you really want somebody like that working for you? Are that the right values for your organization? Are those the people that drive business forward, that want to grow, that want to learn, that want to better themselves? Is even if you apply to 5 jobs in parallel, and I get that you can do that for various reasons, and then you may go to an interview on Monday and take the decision to take that job, and that interview was not with us, and the interview with us is on Wednesday, then you can at least say, I'm sorry, for now I have decided for another job, so I would like to politely decline. And that happened, and that is totally fine. So this is like a video, is like a little bit of a rant, but I promised you in that vlog we're gonna look behind what's happening, how it is to really run a business, because there is a lot of talk out there that you can just buy a good business and it will work, and you have to deal and worry with nothing. Yes, you can do that, but you have to pay a premium. So if you're starting out buying businesses, very often you buy a business and that business has potential. And that's why you buy the business. It has a solid base, but you see so much more the business can be. And that's what we did when we bought GJ, what is today GJ Engineering. We saw the potential, and we also knew it has a solid base. And now as we are expanding that, because we're going to change into the shift system and everything, that then needs the right people there. And people who do not show up for the video, I don't cry and I don't lose sleep about it. So as a candidate, I really, really can't stress that point enough. It's like, have professionalism when it comes to an interview. You might not have questions. A lot of people, when I called them and asked them, do you have any questions before you come to the interview? A lot of them didn't have any questions. That's fine. Even though I recommend a little bit of research, because it's like the company name is in the job advert. It's not hard to Google that company around, together with the city Oldham where the company is located, and find a little bit of data out of it. And I'm doing the same with some candidates. I take the name and I at least enter the name into Facebook or LinkedIn. But for most of the jobs where we are recruiting for, people not necessarily have a LinkedIn profile. And if so, there is not a lot on it. So you can Google around and still find something for the candidates. And I'm doing that, at least for the ones that have decency, and then also upload a CV and really show interest in actually getting the job. Because right now we're changing the organization to have a performance-driven organization, which means we want people in that organization that take charge, that take control, that want to deliver to high standards, that also demand high standards from others, and that want to better themselves. So if you are a candidate in that category, I'm sure you don't belong to the people that do not cancel an interview for any reason. But it's like, if you think that it hurts the future employer, think twice. It doesn't hurt the future employer. The future employer moves on, they find the right candidate, they don't want you anyway. And if you then decide like a week later, because the new job didn't work out or whatever the reason is, you decide and say like, oh, now it would be really nice, and they open another position and you apply, guess what? You might not even make it to the invite list. Is because this is not professional behavior. And no matter the job you are applying for, that should be at least a standard. At least. There are some extras you can do, and this is not a video on recruiting tips. I mean, you can or career tips. I mean, you can Google that, you can search YouTube up and down, and I mean there are a lot of videos on that out there, how to be professional in an interview, and that's not the thing. But for me, it's like I said, I'm giving you the insight. You see what it's behind and what you deal with as a business owner, and that's one of the things you deal with, and that's one of the things where you don't lose sleep over. As if you are, you just have to know, if you start your own business, doesn't matter, or if you buy a business, that's some stuff you deal with. And yeah, it's strange in the beginning to be ghosted, so to say, but you get over it. You just get more applicants in the door, you get better of getting applicants in the door, you get the right applicants, and then the ones that show up, and then you are getting better at judging people that show up, and that make sure you find the ones that fit your values, your company values, and that actually want to work together with you and not necessarily for you. That's the key element. So that's it for today's vlog. A behind the scenes on why I don't care if people don't show up for the interview.